courage to be real, where real stories break the silence.
Is huge.
Mm-hmm. And you said they don't have to talk with somebody else or anybody else. And I'm finding that the more I'm open and vulnerable and talk, the more that I heal and the more that I welcome other people to share their stories and heal. I mean, there's a lot of power in just being open and not hiding. And even so much so I actually have a tattoo with the fire rose on my arm. It's like I'm always wearing short sleeves, so I can't hide from this anymore. And I did that during our sessions with Jason.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember, Drew, having poker night, and one of your assignments that week was to share your story
with the guys at poker night
about doing it? Mm-hmm.
And they're all still my friends.
Yeah,
just that acceptance,
exactly,
of your human experience being accepted the way that you perceived it, and that it wasn't fake, that it was real. Just for somebody to truly see you that way is very healing.
Absolutely. And one thing
it's hard to go through. You know, it's really hard to go through, but we've been chosen. Yeah. Now, guys, listen to this podcast. I want to be real clear about this. We've been chosen to do what we do. So the pain is there, the trauma is there, the heartache, the tears, everything is there because we've been chosen to do this. We're not going to go through all that to do nothing. Go drink. Go use drugs, man. We've been brought through this, whether you believe in supreme being, the universe, Uncle Jimmy, God, it makes no difference. We've been brought through this to heal other people because at the end of the day, it's not about us. That's what people understand once they get well and sort the track. It's not about us. The hard part has been taken care of. Now we've given the tools to heal other people. And you'll find yourself going, well, I didn't really do anything. You did all the work back then. You did your semester at Harvard back then. Now you're a PhD. And what you say, even over coffee, has powerful words that are meant to heal people. That's why we're on this earth. We talked about why this podcast when it first came on. We've just proven why this podcast, because chosen people will find chosen people. If you're a math teacher, you'll blend with a math teacher. We find each other because we've gone through the pain and we're healing. Can you imagine how many people you've healed, guys, just with this podcast? There'll be hundreds of thousands with the ripple effect, millions with the ripple effect. And we sit here and go, well, I try my best. No, we do more than that. Every time we open our mouth, we heal people, and that's what we do. And we don't take any shit for it, and we don't care what anybody thinks. This is our job. It's my job today to heal people. And it's a great job. For me, God's put me in charge of the recovery department. He trusts me with that shit, man. But I had to go through schooling first, unfortunately. And most people, you know, guys, especially you, Drew, most people don't graduate, man. They don't get there because they don't meet other people that's going through, so they feel ashamed and they feel isolated. You want to take somebody's mind away, isolate them, and take the identity off them.
Yeah, you're right.
Those prisoners on death row that we did research on, man, they're insane before they get to the needle or the chair. It's the quickest way. And when we've gone through abuse, when we've gone through sexual abuse, when we've gone through addiction, we isolate and then we go insane.
Mm-hmm. And you're
what
right about
happened to Drew? Everyone's seen Drew. What happened to him? Drew was in his house crying himself to death because he didn't think anybody else would understand. And he got to a roof and he got a call of Jason. Jesus, guys, you've got to tell me that's not by mistake. I don't believe coincidences. They don't exist, guys. There's miracles on here.
100%.
And you just hit that on the... Yeah.
Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead, man.
I was so ashamed. I was unworthy of sitting on furniture. Night after night, I would sit in the corner of my dark office. My office was my safe place, just bawling my eyes out. Until one day I couldn't take the bawling anymore, and that's when the roof came in. I had a plan, and it was real. I was done suffering, but I had to get there in order to be, but it's interesting. So Jason and I, and you even talked about this in our last recording, Jason, how many times we've been on our show and just tears start rolling. I mean, we relive certain things. We put ourselves through certain things in order to share with other people. It's brutal sometimes. You know, your depression that you feel, Rob, we feel that. It's real, but we keep pressing through it because we have to. And there's a certain power to that as well. It hurts. It's fucking brutal, yeah. But it's beautiful on the other end. You know, it's like
we're coining that new term, brutal. I love it.
Brutal, yeah, that's how it came out.
Do you know the nice thing though, Drew? Whoever it is, they didn't give it to the surgeons. They didn't give it to the politicians. They gave it to us. Whoever was up there gave it to us. They trusted us to carry the message and heal people. The Isaiah 61 that people kept telling me about, when I got here, this guy owned a group, a spiritual group, not a church group, and the name was Isaiah 61. So when I looked it up, John told me this 30 odd years ago, God, I can't remember how long, to heal the sick and bring great news to their families. That's what we do. Apologetically as well, by the way.
That's a wonderful analogy that you used about how going through schooling, you know, and the pain that we went through, the suffering that we endured was our schooling. And I love your analogy about being a ripple, because there was the episode where Maggie was on, Drew's wife, and Drew said, please be gentle. And I said, Maggie, no, this is our opportunity. We have an ocean in front of us, and this is an opportunity to drop a huge fucking boulder into the ocean, because we don't know how many people we're going to be affecting. And one thing you mentioned, Rob, was talking about identity. And I know that is that's the crux of what healing is centered around. For me personally, I'm going to be sober 3 years in June. And it happened with no AA. I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't have anybody, but I was forced into, through my own life experiences, an opportunity for me to shift my identity. And that was the key for me, is when I changed how I viewed myself, and I no longer needed alcohol, and it was like a switch was flipped. I'm curious what your take is on people who are identifying with terms like recovered alcoholic, because I refused to use recovered alcoholic. And what Drew had mentioned, he's a CSA survivor. I have trouble with terms, with terminology and the words that we use to identify ourselves.
And I never used survivor. I only did that for the show today. I hate that word.
So let's look recovered up. When you talk about recovered in AA, the Oxford group was founded and called the Oxford group because 7 or 8 guys that was in the Oxford group and started it went to Oxford University. So the wording in that book comes from the Oxford English Dictionary. So when we read stuff like we trudge along the road to happy destiny, over in America, trudging is walking through mud. But back in England, trudging is to march on triumphantly. So let's look at recovered, which mentions 27 times in the big book, to gain one's health and state of mind. It's not cured. To gain one's health. My body's no longer sick with the alcohol. In state of mind, I've been restored back to sanity. But people don't want to get well. What we speak into ourselves is what we become. Billion%. If I get up tomorrow morning and go, do you know something? It's going to be a bad day today. I'm right. If I get up tomorrow morning, it's going to be a great day today. I'm right. Because the mind over matter, brain, mind, will take care of that. So internal dialogue and what we say to ourselves and the understanding on different words and what they mean is really important to the brain. Because remember, anybody with an addiction, anybody with suffering and childhood trauma, we have a brain that wants to kill us and make it look like an accident. That's the subconscious brain. So God forgive, I should ever say that I'm getting well. I don't want to jinx it. This ain't a freaking bingo game, guys. Not you guys at home. This is real, man. I love there's a line in the big book, and I love it for all them guys that hate saying recovered or don't believe in it, and it's fine if that's the way. But it says, talking about someone who's struggling with alcohol, it says his attention should be drawn to you, a recovered alcoholic. So in other words, as far as AA is concerned, if you're not recovered, you shouldn't be dealing with these guys because you're still suffering from untreated alcoholism. And I kind of believe that. We can speak truth into ourselves. But the internal dialogue will either make us or it will break us. And the subconscious wants to break you. So we need to stay in that conscious brain and belief. The hardest thing I come across with people like us guys is believing you've been chosen. Well, we do what we do. We have a good but no. If you haven't realized that we've all been chosen on this podcast, if you haven't realized, today's the day to realize. This isn't a joke. You watch people that stumble upon this podcast. I've done thousands of these. The guy that stumbles on it are one of us or about to be one of us. But this is not for general public. This is the guys that need to hear it will hear it, and the guys that don't won't. That's the way quantum physics works and neuroscience works. But it's lack of belief in ourselves. Well, surely I'm not. Stop doing that crap, guys. Well, I can't be a leader. Stop doing that. Stand up proud. We should be like lighthouses in the middle of the Black Sea. Huge, strong. People can see us for miles and miles and miles around. The guys that's the alpha males, the guys that don't give a crap what you think about on the butterguns, continue healing despite what you say, because this is a job for us. And if we don't believe we can be in that position, nobody else is going to believe. And you know as well as I do, peeps at home, there are people dying right now. There's been 167 people died of a mental illness in the last hour and 5 minutes, guys. And we're not believing how powerful we are. How dare you? When you listen to this at home, how dare you? You'll never be ready. You'll never be ready to do this. You'll never be ready to have a baby. You'll never do it now. Start believing now. And it will happen. God, that was powerful, wasn't it? I got my soapbox then.
I love that lighthouse analogy because I always called Jason. I even wrote a passage on the We and Cam website about this lighthouse. And it's such a powerful, it's a powerful metaphor because there he was just showing the way, guiding. He wasn't grabbing. He was guiding. Yes. It's really powerful.
Wow. I love your energy, Rob, in the whole
amazing
confrontation over comfort here. And this is wonderful. And just real quick, everybody, if you're just joining in, we got Dr. Robb Kelly here. It's been a really powerful episode. This man is full of knowledge and full of positive inspiration.
And you can find him at robbkelly.com. 2 B's, 2 L's, robbkelly.com.
How are we doing on time, Rob?
We got plenty of time. Don't worry. I'm loving this. I'm loving that. I'm telling you now, this is probably in my top 3 of best podcasts I've been on. By far.
Those two. How much time do we have?
I've got till 7
p.m.
We're going
to be number 1 before we're done.
Number 1, yes.
Taking this positive attitude here.
I personally, Rob, I've been doing a lot of work around coping mechanisms. And so whether that's alcohol, whether that's weed, porn, overworking, using the gym, all to use those as a means to escape difficult emotions that we're running from, the things that we don't want to deal with. I'm curious, in your work, what have been some of the most common life experiences, if you will, that people have a hard time dealing with? And then what is it that usually, how do they have the hardest time truly healing from those experiences?
It's staying in that comfort zone and not believing that they're worthy of healing. They're the biggest two.
It's self-talk again and identity work.
Self-talk all the time, man. We replicate what people say to us. I was hanging around this girlfriend. She was a good friend of mine, and she used to have a saying, and it was "shut up." And I hated that saying. And I said, "Carleen, will you stop saying that? It's stupid. How old are you? 12? 4 weeks I was with her. I said, "Shut up, my."
It's contagious. Do you find that a lot of people, do you find that a lot of people have trouble loving themselves?
God, yes, that's been bashed out of us. And when you do start getting a little bit of confidence and loving, watch your ego, Rob. Ego when you've been through what I've been through, but yeah, definitely. And it's hard, man, because we don't tell each other anything anymore. I was in my Dallas office a couple of years ago, and the guy come in, he's suicidal, man. He's serious. They were going to call the police. He came in, he spent an hour with me. He goes out, he's high-fiving the nurses, and everything's amazing and fantastic. And one nurse said to the other, or one therapist said to the other, "Did you see what Dr. Robb just did then?" And she said, "Yeah." And the other one, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's done that. He's amazing." And the other nurse says, "I know. Have you told him?" "Oh, I mean, he already knows." Nobody knows. Nobody knows, guys. We have to start telling people. We have to start telling people how good they are. Thank you. It's amazing. We've got to start doing this to especially men on men, you know? But there's just this belief that I'm not worthy. I'll never be blonde enough, tall enough, thin enough, or rich enough. And that's just the way it is. And that's a lie.
You, sir, are amazing. Heard it. I just want to say that. Yeah.
You beat me to it, Drew. If you haven't heard it,
I can read your mind.
There you go. So coming back to my question, what are some of the most common childhood traumas or life experiences, the most difficult ones that people have had, the ones that you see the most in your clinics, in the work that you do, so people that are watching right now know, hey, I've got that, or I went through that?
Yeah. Well, obviously the molestation is high on the list, followed by abandonment. A lot of children are abandoned today and they don't know they're abandoned. So if you're a latchkey kid, I think they call it over here, that's abandonment. If you're allowing your kid to come home after school at the age of 12, 13, at 3 o'clock, go straight upstairs and game until 10 o'clock, that's abandonment. Anything less than nurturing as a child is child abuse. I just want to put that out there, and people don't like to hear that. But they're the two big ones, man. And again, they're normalized. Well, mom and dad had to work. I know that. But mom and dad, when you get home at 6 o'clock and he's upstairs gaming, you want to bring him down and spend some quality time with him. Mm-hmm. You want to show him love. You want to say, I love you every single day. And it just festers in the subconscious mind that you're not good enough and everyone's going to abandon you. And you get an attitude like I used to have, and I'm sure you did, Drew. I'm going to fuck you up before you fuck me up because I know you're going to fuck me up. And it's a crazy way to live. But that is what's repeated through generations and generations. And that's what we're trying to stop. And you guys are trying to stop as well.
And you just brought up something really that resonates heavily with me. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Jason. Any change or any shift in tone immediately puts me in a corner, and I will swing to get out of that corner.
Yeah.
So people with a past or a history of maltreatment as a child, and I'm sure this is a very common factor. What tools or what devices do you use to help your patients get out? I mean, I will immediately, my wife can come to me and talk to me about a problem that she's having at work, and I will take it personally because her tone changes. And immediately I'll start yelling back.
Sensitive brain advice, as well.
Very sensitive, yeah.
We do the rubber band with them. Snap the rubber band. Pathways are reset, and your central nervous system reset immediately, and you know you're in that zone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we use the rubber band with everything, man, because it just resets. Mm-hmm. It really does. And there's 1,000 other things that you can do after that, but. Man, I got to tell you, Drew, man, that you still need some trauma work, baby. You know?
I know this.
Yeah, it's beautiful what you do, man. And I admire you and adore you as a person, both of you. But yeah, there's still some crap there you need to get rid of. And it's not hard. In actual fact, I'll tell you something. We have my other company, Breathbox, is a trauma software that heals trauma. And I ask you both through Courtney to come on Telehealth and try it with one of my therapists free of charge. It will change your life. Period.
That's wonderful. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
of course,
definitely.
Of course.
That's wonderful.
I will some of the work that right away.
Yeah, and say I think there's an important thing that when it comes to triggers, when you get activated, moments like that, those moments where you need to snap that rubber band, it brings you back into your body and it brings you into that awareness and it gives you a moment of pause, like Viktor Frankl talks about in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. It's been life-changing just having that awareness around your triggers.
Yeah, it's like when that happens, when my fight or flight kicks in because the tone has changed, goes back to childhood, goes back to the tone that changed before you got molested, the tone that changed before the violence. And it's very important to work on that because if you don't, it will control your lives, obviously. But it's amazing what we pick up on as kids, and it's realizing that if you live in today, asking yourself a question when it happens is, why did I react that way? And there's different parts of the brain that it affects that makes you act that kind of way, especially the fight or flight stuff is. Mm-hmm. We can't sit still. We're looking. Drew, I know for a fact that you in a restaurant sit facing the door.
Always. I cannot have,
Always.
Yeah.
No.
No one can walk up.
A couple of things I notice when I go in a restaurant. I want to know who's a threat. Who can I not put down in one punch? I need to know that straight away. So I'm scouring the room. Okay. Him over there is a guy, the way he looks, I say, okay, he might be a problem. And where's the exit? I got the exit right there and then. And that's how I start my meal. It used to drive my wife crazy.
It drives my wife
until
crazy.
An incident happens and I was ready. But that's just us.
Tell them about your hotel rooms.
Yeah. So here's a fun one. And I trace this back to my childhood now. I didn't know for many years why I do it. Whenever we would travel, I make everyone, my wife, my kid, if I'm traveling with other people, you put your shoes in front of the door. And it stems back to when I was a child, I used to barricade myself in my room, or if I'm in a strange place. And I will send Jason pictures now of shoes lined up in front of the door. Now, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of this fun thing that I can poke fun at now. It's like, this is why I do this. And, back when I was a kid, I used to hide in my room. I used to barricade with whatever I had to barricade it. And even my wife says, what is your deal with shoes? And until I, had enough and I was ready to actually tell her what happened as a child. Now she'll put my shoes, her shoes, the kids' shoes. She goes, hey, let's just line up our shoes for Dad.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of people like myself who become superstitious or it becomes an OCD tactic after a while. It's like, I'm not safe unless my shoes are in front of the door. Even if the door opens outward, doesn't matter. There's shoes in front of the door. Somebody will trip over them.
I have 84 pair of shoes.
That would work.
There's a reason for that. Is when I was young.
What's the reason?
My mom and dad could only afford 2 pair of shoes a year. That's what they told us. So I was working with a therapist once. I was the patient. And she said, talking about school, we used to walk in the snow with holes in our socks and shoes. He said, why? 2 shoes a year. When they got holes through it, my mom would cut around a cardboard box and the sole and stick it in. But after a mile or 2 walking to school in the snow, I'd still be in my bare foot touching the snow. And she looked at me, and this was a big breaking point. So she said, so you walk to school in your almost barefoot? And I said, yeah, with holes in my socks and shoes. And she said, what do your mum and dad used to do? I said, went drinking every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. And then she looked at me square and said, did your mum and dad have holes in their socks and shoes? And it hit me like a ton of bricks. That's why I have 80-odd pairs of shoes. If I get a little tiny nick on a pair of socks, they're gone. If I get a little nick on sneak, they're gone. But it's funny you should say that about the shoes.
I could put 80 shoes in front of a door. That would work.
Oh, yeah, that'd definitely work.
Nobody would get. I wouldn't get. Nobody would get in.
So, Dr. Robb, if you don't mind, I would like to shift gears just a little bit. And this is because I have my own personal agenda. I remember you sharing a story. I think you were going through a healing moment with your daughter, Charlie. Do you only have the one daughter?
I have 2. The one's Abigail that got in contact with me 6 months ago.
Okay. Well, congratulations. That sounds like a positive step.
Yeah, definitely.
But there was a moment when you were with, I believe it was Charlie then, and you were identifying a line in the sand here. And it was either driving the best Mercedes to drive her around in or spending time with her. And she said, Dad, I never wanted the Mercedes. And so my question is kind of a 2-part question. What kind of mindset were you in that time when you were working so hard for your family to give them the best experiences?
Well, coming from the projects, lower parts of the projects, I always wanted to better myself, obviously, but the shame was that I wanted other people to see that my daughter had the best and I was successful. That's where it came from. I remember building a playhouse at the back of the house and giving her everything she needs so I could go drink, by the way. The day I decided to build the extension for the playroom, that beer cost me 20 grand that night, so I could put her in there. But there was a time when we were talking and I said, you had the best of everything, Charlie. You had the best schools, you had the best dress, you had the best cars, you were always driving brand new Mercedes. And then he just looked at me and said, I didn't care about that, Dad. I just wanted to sit with you for a period of time, but I was always drunk. So when we go to the park to play on the swings, after 5 minutes of being, come on, we got to go now. We got to go. Oh, Dad, can I play more? We got to go now. Because Dad wanted to drink. He had to drive back. He said, I didn't want any of that, Dad. I just want to spend some time with you.
Okay. And so that opens up another question for me then. You were very successful while you were drinking. You must have been a very high functioning alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were you, so you were saying you wanted the best. You came from the projects. And so you were trying to prove something to yourself or to others, but at the same time drinking. So what were you running from? What were you numbing?
I was numbing me, really. And I was in the throes of alcoholism, remember the hypothalamus, so I couldn't stop drinking. But it was this continued mission to seek your approval. That's what it was. I never thought I was good enough. So when I bought the Mercedes, it was like, well, can we get the next model up? And can we buy this house? And it was insane, but I don't think I was numbing out per se. I think I was working so hard. Yeah, mine was the alcoholism.
You had the alcohol brain that it needed it to survive.
And the more wealthy I got, well, wealthy as 60 grand a year back in the day was when 20 grand was normal, the more it hid my alcoholism. I think that's worth mentioning. The more success I had, the more I provided for my wife and my children, the more I could justify me drinking at 5 o'clock in the morning, walking around the garden.
Okay. That's an honest place right there to be in. Thank you for that. And the final part of my question then is, we had mentioned how, you know what, we're chosen. We had to go through these. So what would you say to yourself now if you could go back in time and, you know, do things differently for Charlie and for Abigail?
Yeah. Obviously, I wouldn't change a thing, but the understanding, I would love the understanding of what we're going through so I could tell myself back then what I was going through. That would have been good. It was only to the years later and you had caused that much damage. My daughters still see a therapist today because of what I did in the house. You don't stab your wife 3 times one night and it goes away in the next day. It's there and it's there for good. I don't think I would have done anything different, but I love them so much. I wanted to protect them so much. I wanted the best for them, but I'm in this mind jail that I cannot stop, and I don't care where this is going to end, but I just have to carry on and carry on and carry on. And it was absolutely a disaster from people looking outside in. Everybody told me where it would end, and I was like, no way, not me. Not me. Who do you think you're talking to? This is me trying to prove so much after your approval, so everything. It was a plane heading to the ground at 1,000,000 miles an hour and crash and burn. And eventually that's what happened to me.
Can we rephrase that question just a little bit? And by the way, we're with Dr. Robb Kelly, and this is The Courage to Be Real. And thank you for joining us today. And this is a very special episode. Robb, we have at least 1 or 2 people watching this episode right now in the position that you were in X number of years ago. In a position where they're going to lose their family. They're going to destroy everything that they worked so hard to build. What advice do you have for them right at this very moment?
Depends where you are, guys. If you're in the throes, God, the dialogue again, man, but it's 99% of people that go through this die. 99% of people end up shooting family members and stuff like that. It doesn't end well. It really doesn't. And you are helpless and you are hopeless and nobody understands what you're doing or where you're going and anything like that. I beg you to call us. And I've never said that on the show before, but there are so many people that don't. My parents didn't know what to do. They died early because of cancer, because of me, because of worry about me. My mum used to say, I just wish the police would come and tell me you'd passed away so I could just stop this worrying every night. I can't sleep. It's horrible. It's horrible, but we understand. Find somebody that will understand you and guide you through this. And this is life or death, man. We ain't got time to waste. I'll do it Monday. Don't do it Monday. It's like starting a diet on the 1st of January. It never pans out. Do it now. You only have today. But I can guarantee you one thing, guys at home, that if you do make a move today, your life will get better. I guarantee that. In a place of hopelessness, man, let's turn that into hope. You have 3 people on this podcast that are talking to you guys. So if you're listening to this, make a move. I tell you what, guys, 600-0210 is my personal phone number. Send me a text if you're in that position. I will automatically text you back, and I'll arrange a 20-minute conversation with me and you that will save your life. I guarantee it. And you know, if it doesn't, I'll send you $100 for wasting your time. Because here's the deal. I would rather give 20 minutes of my time to help you than hear of your suicide next week. That's not how I operate. Please don't Google me and that's serious. People go, I didn't want to call you too. I'm a guy that loves helping people. That's all. Isaiah 61.
Loser.
Text me. We'll do it, man.
That's amazing. That definitely one-ups what we do. And I mean, we put the 988 numbers and the suicide hotline in the description, but we've never, and we tell people to reach out to us all the time.
We do say to reach out to us all the time. Absolutely. We do have an occasional person reaching out to us, but you're not going to get better attention than Dr. Robb Kelly. Can you repeat your number one more time? I won't print it. I'll just let them watch this.
214-600-0210. Please don't call if you want to chat. I love you guys, but I'm very busy. These are for the guys we're talking about, the guys that are sat in a room and it's all going wrong and you're just about to walk to that Golden Gate Bridge. You know, them guys. Text me, man. I'm telling you. You would be doing me the favor.
You want them to text you, not call you?
Text first, because I'm really busy, and I have gatekeepers all over the place. People screen my calls, but text, I let text come through to me, and if I see your text going, I saw you on the show, you know, I'd love to speak to you for 20 minutes. I'll text you straight back, even in session. Even now, if it came now and I'm on a podcast, I'm texting you through the podcast.
Courage to be real, where real stories break the silence.